welcome back to the Modern Sense Minute. I'm your host, Andrea Thompson. I just attended the Wealthsimple announcement. Wealthsimple does these launches every quarter or so with their new product features and announcements. So, as a Wealthsimple client, I decided to attend and thought I'd just share the information with you. I don't work for Wealthsimple, so I'm not here to sell you on it. But as someone who observes all the trends in personal finance, I think it is worth breaking down what some of these features actually do and why this is important in the wealth management space. If you look at how the average Canadian household manages their money, it's usually a big mess. And I see this all the time with my clients. Families are totally fragmented. One person's with bank A, one person's with bank B, and the family investments are all over the place. And often the work that we're doing is really to try to streamline everything and to try to simplify and consolidate. And that's okay, but it can lead to funds getting missed or lack of coordination and consolidation in family cash flow. As well, how do we help the next generation get a better handle on how they want to manage money? I've got two 7-year-olds myself, and this is a problem in my household. So let's start there. The first part of the Wealthsimple announcement was about managing your children's money in what's predominantly becoming more of a cashless society. So, teaching the kids about how to handle money right now is really hard. And my kids are 7. So, I have to say it is really hard because we're not going to give them a lot of control at this age and stage. But as they get older, we do want them to have financial autonomy and learn good money habits. So, to address this, Wealthsimple is introducing kids and teens accounts, so bank accounts, equipped with a physical debit card. And the core feature here isn't the actual card itself, but it's the actual back end control given to parents. Through their app, they let you monitor transactions in real time. You can give them allowances. You can set spending limits for them, whether that's weekly or monthly. You can actually block them from specific spending categories altogether. And they will let you instantly lock the card if your kid loses it as well, which is helpful. And then from a numbers perspective, this is why I don't have a current bank account for my kids actually, is there's actually an interest rate that they will pay on this account. 2.25%, which is really competitive and nowhere near where any of the other banks are that I've seen. They've added another feature called parent paid interest, where they let you as the parent subsidize and top up that interest rate that they give out of your own pocket. So that's an interesting psychological tool if you're trying to give your child a hands on lesson in how compounding returns work without making them wait a long time to see the results of that, but also maybe a bit more of an incentive to save rather than to spend. The second one was household data aggregation. So for couples and extended families, let's say if you've got parents that you help, aging parents, for example, the focus is shifting towards sharing data. Wealthsimple is trying to make this easier for families, and they are introducing something called Wealthsimple Households. And that is really done to facilitate how we all operate in today's world. So within their household setup, they let you customize a household view, which means that you can actually share with your partner or your spouse, for example, what assets that you'd like to be able to see of each other's accounts or not. So you can get a better consolidated view of your overall household. And they also let you link external accounts to get a centralized view of your total net worth. Now you can see that they're trying to also collect data here in this, external account linking. So just sort of a beware of the beholder. If you don't want them to know all of your external net worth, then maybe don't use that feature. There is an incentive to doing the grouped household feature. They do let you hit higher status tiers faster. For example, if one partner qualifies for lower fees or highest interest rate perks, then the other spouse gets to also benefit from those things. Looking forward, they're also going to introduce something called a partner marketplace. I actually just went on the app and I checked, and it's already there, which gives you discounts towards certain businesses. For example, one of them that they mentioned was TELUS. The other thing they're introducing is an authorized trader feature. So within this, they actually let you legally trade on, let's say, a family member's behalf. And this could be helpful. Let's just say if you're sharing passwords between you and your family, or if you are actually managing an account for someone else as a power of attorney, for example, this could be a helpful tool so that you can go in and actually trade for them and ensure that their account doesn't get neglected if that's something that you're helping them out with. So, all of this being said, they're really trying to wrap their hands around everybody in the house. You can see where they're going. They're trying to capture more market share. They're trying to capture all of your business and really create this very sticky relationship with their consumers going forward. The third part was for business owners. So, for the entrepreneurs listening, their ecosystem is expanding into business checking, which is aiming to pull users away from traditional bank accounts that are notorious for high monthly fees and really no interest at all. Their business banking offers up to 2.25 interest on just regular corporate checking accounts with no monthly fees or minimum balances. I actually opened one up for my business when this first came out and have been using it now for a couple months. They have an auto save feature within this account as well, where let's say you want to put aside money for HST or corporate taxes or whatever it is that you'd like to segregate from your regular bank account, you can do that directly with their autosave feature. And they also let you pre-schedule CRA tax payments and payroll remittances, for example. For international operations, they've integrated with Wise in the background, which is going to allow them to offer US dollar business accounts. They're going to have free incoming wire transfers. And I think they've lowered their outgoing wire rates pretty significantly. So that's a significant enhancement as well. But the most sophisticated feature on the business side is their portfolio line of credit. They also have this on the personal side, and I don't think it was mentioned in their presentation today. But with the portfolio line of credit, which they call the PLC, they let you borrow against corporate or personal investment assets as collateral. So instead of, let's say, being forced to liquidate some investments that you have to access cash for your business, which could trigger capital gains, for example, Wealthsimple will let you leverage your portfolio at a relatively low interest rate while keeping your portfolio intact. So if you don't have a business investment portfolio, that's okay. They'll actually use your personal portfolio as collateral. And I think right now you can get as low as 3.95% on this portfolio line of credit, which is pretty fantastic. They've added a couple other features I actually just want to mention really quickly. They're going to have about 5,000 physical cash deposit locations across Canada. So, really trying to extend into that brick and mortar style infrastructure. They've got credit cards with no tap limits. They have introduced household expense tracking. So, if you like knowing where your cash flow is going every month, anything that runs through your Wealthsimple checking accounts will get categorized similar to, let's say, a Monarch, for example. And so you can track your spending going forward. And also, they're going to be introducing insights on your spending. So, for example, if you're developing a monthly surplus, they're going to start to prompt you to say, hey, you've got a surplus. What do you want to do with that? Where do you want to invest it? So, ultimately, to wrap this up, my role here is really just to track where the industry is moving. Is it worthwhile to look at? Is it not? The major banks have really owned Canada for as long as I can remember. But I do think that the Wealthsimple family here is trying to change the game a little bit. Sure, they're still a profit-driven entity, and yes, they're trying to make money. They're a business at the end of the day. But I do think that there are features here that if you're already a Wealthsimple customer or you're really frustrated with your existing setup, that are worthwhile looking at. Lastly, the one thing I do want to say is a lot of clients are unsure about whether or not Wealthsimple will be around. I know this is something that I've heard from clients several times, especially ones that have been with traditional brick and mortar banks for a really long time. They have a pretty significant valuation. They've got over 100 billion in assets already under administration. The company value is estimated at about $10 billion. They do have the same insurance protections as all the five big banks in Canada do in terms of CDIC protection. And in fact, they have claimed that they've been able to multiply your CDIC coverage on your regular checking account because they use partner banks in the background to actually hold your deposits. So, for example, they'll use an RBC for 100,000 and then they'll put your next 100,000 with TD, et cetera, in the background. That's how they're able to multiply your CDIC coverage. At least that's my understanding of it. Anyway, with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, apologies for the longer diatribe today. I just think it's really important to get this out while it's fresh. And if you want to have a conversation about it, just let us know. Again, don't work for Wealthsimple. Can only speak from personal experience as a client of Wealthsimple's. But thank you for listening today. That is your Modern Sense Minute, and we will see you next week.